Hi, welcome to the Root Dog Show. This is Rudy Reyes here live on the Sideline Sports Network. Make sure you throw them a follow. They'll be happy you did. They'll be glad you did, and so will I. Throw me a follow as well at Root Dog Reyes on Twitter. However, I wanted to jump right into this. Not going to take that much long. Um, however good this game actually was scheduled to be isn't actually what we looked at on the court tonight against game one between the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets. Interestingly enough, I look at the Nuggets, I think to myself, man, these guys have been on a tear. They've had a great break. They're used to playing at high altitudes. They've been doing it since the inception of the Nuggets back in the 50s. But more importantly, it's about what the Miami Heat was not able to do. We look at both sides of the coin here. We look at the tail of the tape for the Miami Heat. 20 points in the first, 22 in the second, 21 in the third, and then 30 in the fourth to try to, I don't know, create some type of transitional offense by getting up to four a lot faster than what they probably ended up not doing throughout the entire game, with lots of misses from the field. Bam had a record game. Butler ended up with, well, basically next to nothing, with 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and only 13 points in the game. We've seen Jimmy Butler go through stretches where, clearly when he was injured, didn't have the ability to get on the floor, but when he did, he certainly made his presence count every single time. You look at Gabe Vincent, he played for, what was it, 38 minutes or so. He had two rebounds, 5 assists, 19 points. I mean, he played better than Jimmy Butler. Caleb Martin was basically a no-show with no assists, 3 points, and 4 rebounds. Uh, I don't know how this Heat expect to get this game back to a level playing field by evening this up at one apiece. The Denver Nuggets going on 104-93. Let's switch this to the Nuggets real quick, because the Nuggets just had an absolutely fantastic game in every essence of the word. I just posted on Twitter. I believe that when you look at Nikola Jokic, I think to myself, this guy does it all. He stretches the court. He's 7-footer. He's very athletic. He has this wonderful touch to the basket. Once he gets inside of the paint, he has the ability to dominate and get through defenders at will. And even if he does it from outside of the paint as well. He's made 3-point shots. He had 14 points, 27 assists, 10 rebounds. That's a triple-double. Jamal Murray, he had 6 rebounds, 10 points, 26 assists. 26 points, excuse me, and 10 points. So Jamal Murray also getting involved in the act. And what's more important is that the Denver Nuggets learn how to play as a cohesive unit. Malone had taken a couple timeouts to, look, we need to do the hard stuff. And the hard stuff means that you have to, box out those would-be shooters. Well, they did that. But it wasn't just about Murray. It wasn't just about the Joker. It was about Michael Porter Jr., who had 14 points, 1 assist, 12 rebounds. KCP making an appearance, not as much of a splash with 7 points, 3 rebounds. But it's really about the collective unit. These guys have been playing so well together, obviously, since the trade deadline, a few additions. But more importantly, they caught the lack of injury bug, meaning that these guys were able to come back for postseason, which is exactly what they did. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. They were almost unstoppable tonight in a lot of different ways. Now, I lived in Colorado, for those that know or know me, rather. And one thing that I certainly did hear a lot about, clearly because I was in Denver, Colorado, that you heard about the Nuggets. And they weren't really relevant probably 4 or 5 years ago. And yeah, they had their struggles getting into playoffs and getting into postseason play and, working their way towards what we're looking at right now from a roster standpoint of what pieces of the puzzle they really needed to bring in or to play all inclusive between Malone, ownership, getting guys in there that they needed to get in there. And so one of those things that I look at is a guy like Aaron Gordon, who just had a monster game, 16 points, not big in the assist department, but he certainly made a difference wherever he could. Bruce Brown contributed as well with 10 points. So these guys are playing all on the field. Anywhere they're at on the perimeter, anywhere they're at inside of the paint, even from three-point line or maybe even from the charity stripe, they're just able to get it done. And I can't I can't imagine what the Heat must be thinking right about now, being down 0-1 in this series, as Game 2 will be in Denver, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday. So there's a lot of things to clean up if you're the Miami Heat. It's transition defense. Practice your three-point shots. There were so many that were missed by the Heat. Jimmy Butler was just not on page at all whatsoever with making that three-point shot. And yeah, you could say there's a level of ease when it comes to understanding where you're at on the floor. They had some contributors. Highsmith certainly played some quality minutes with 18 points. But I mean, outside of that, there really wasn't a whole lot of offense by the Miami Heat. Yeah, they kept it a little close at 93-104, but a little too late. You thought that maybe going into the second half of gameplay that you're going to see guys like, guys, you name it, anybody on that bench could have easily scored. I mean, easily scored. Duncan Robinson, very poor night tonight with 3 points. There wasn't any fluidity. Kyle Lowry chipped in with 11. There just wasn't a whole lot of dynamic play from the Miami Heat. I expect that to change. Spoelstra's been here, done that a couple of times, but more importantly, he had an all-star squad with Dwayne Wade. He had LeBron James. He had the collective unit, the would-be eventual NBA champions there in Miami. The problem is that you're on a quick turnaround. If you're the Miami Heat, you are in Miami having to fly from coast to coast. Of course, we know it's going to happen because the Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, but because the Nuggets have a better record, even in postseason play as well as regular season, now they ended up in the first position. Miami not only had to adjust to the quick turnaround, but they had to adjust to the altitude at 5280. That is not an easy task. So many different NFL teams, NHL teams, they all had issues playing at the elevation of what's in Colorado. It's very high. It's not for the weak-hearted, literally and figuratively. You have to be able to play at all different levels and be acclimated to that altitude. This is Rudy Reyes on Sideline Sports on the RootDogShow.com. Go to the RootDogShow.com and check out all kinds of goodness. For many years, I've been in broadcast media, podcasts, interviews, you name it. It will be there. Of course, the NFL draft, as well as the Combine, the Super Bowl. And there's just so much good stuff. Take a listen, take a peek, if you will. And again, throw me a follow at RootDogReyes on Twitter. I certainly appreciate that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Not here for a lot longer, I can assure you that. And only because there's so many things that I appreciated watching Nikola Jokic play, his style, his esque at the rim, his ability to get the soft touch balls right through the iron. Just so many things to like about his play. I appreciate his play, what he brings to the hardwood every single night. This is his time. And I may have said this in the onset of this broadcast, but if Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets go on to win the NBA Finals, there is no doubt in my mind, not one, that the Joker will end up getting the NBA Finals MVP. There's no doubt in my mind. That is unequivocally. I'd like to see somebody challenge on that, only because I don't mean a coach's challenge. I mean an actual player challenge, because I don't see many players playing at the level that he is right now, of course, now in the NBA Finals for the first time ever in franchise history. I think that the Heat are going to have to find a way to stop Jokic, but what do they do? Bam Adebayo had his hands full. He had his ability to block out Nikola, but the fact is that he's not very big. He's not as tall. He's athletic, don't get me wrong. I take nothing away from Bam's play throughout the regular season or postseason, but the Joker is just so different. His play style, his mentality, the way that he does it, his ball placement, his ball disbursement, passing it, to willing shooters. We've seen one from Jamal Murray late in the fourth quarter from the 3-point line. I mean, he's been dangerous from that line as well. Look, the bottom line is that unless the Heat can find a way to match up against Nikola Jokic, you're not going to get a whole lot of fantastic play. You're going to end up finding yourself in a 2-0 deficit if you're the Miami Heat, and it could very well be a sweep. What adjustments they can make? It's going to have to be much faster ball movement. You're going to have to get inside of the paint. You're going to have to make sure that Nikola doesn't see those quick passes in order to get somebody smaller relatively to get to the iron. I mean, you need those points to fall early and often. There just wasn't enough of that from the Miami Heat tonight, losing game one and trying to find a way to actually get back into the series. And I think that's really the way they're going to have to do it. Denver is just too good defensively. They have great transition defense. And we've seen that during the Lakers series as well. When we look at what the Nuggets just outlasted them. They out-athletically performed the Los Angeles Lakers on many different levels. They were just too high power, too high energy. They were obviously very well coached, carrying that into the finals. And, here we are. Imagine that. This is Rudy Reyes on the RudeDogShow.com. I just wanted to make a quick conversation, a quick video, quick discussion. Make sure you tune in to Sideline Sports. A lot of great shows that are constantly evolving around the network. We're evolving as a network as well. But don't forget, make sure you throw them a follow, throw me a follow, and subscribe to my channel at The Rude Dog Show don't forget the on YouTube. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in.